People who shoved their school papers in their backpack with no folder or binder. Where are you now? Working a job that requires me to organize other people's work. It's like imposter syndrome on steroids. In trouble with the tax man. Now I shove paper in mailboxes. Nicely. Most of the time. Finding out about AskReddit. Still shoving papers in my backpack. Around 4 years out of college as a full-time software developer. Not a piece of paper in sight. It's perfect. To the school teacher that told me I wouldn't be anything other than a construction worker and an alcoholic. Frick you, that was a lucky guess is probably the best I could describe my life off a single quote right now. I cry a lot. You had a backpack. I am a teacher. Studying engineering. I am still unorganized. LMAO. Not good my dude, not good. Laying in bed on Reddit at 4 in the morning. On Reddit. I am actually not in prison. Yet. Well. I am diagnosed with ADHD and some other boring shiz like anxiety and depression. But I also do have a bachelor's degree. A decent job. And am 1 semester away from my master's. I am also getting married to my high school sweetheart this year. So IDK. Nothing too terrible came from it. Even after all these years I am still doing it. It usually works out fine. I had notebooks. 2 per subject. Then I got to high school and I had a notebook for all subjects. Then I reached 12th grade and stopped bringing even that. Since 12th grade is an afterthought for the most part, I am doing very well now. Preparing for medical board exams. Continuing to get straight A's. No backpacks when I was in school. We just had to carry our books. I was not the best student as I was just having fun. But went on to a long career and now retired. Looking at repost on Reddit. Calling out reposts on Reddit. AskReddit AskReddit commensute 7. I have a messy desk with papers all over it. And I am still prone to creating piles of papers in weird places despite my best efforts not to. I clean and organize. And within a day it looks like a bomb went off again. My husband hates it. I don't mean to annoy him. There's something in me that just likes messy piles of papers. I've been that way as long as I can remember. Since 3rd grade at least. Backpack. That's luxurious. I didn't have one, poor parents. I had an art wallet. A 3 transparent with a clipsable plastic handle. Where am I? I left my home country when I was 20. Moved to France. Started at the bottom again. I was in care work in the UK. Then started in construction in France as a laborer. Now for the last 9 years I have been in the wedding industry. Started my own company about 3 years ago. My wife did too, as wedding floral designers. I get to travel with it if I choose to. And I mainly work 3 days a week for 7 months a year. And the rest is family time. At home. Sitting in a mess of a room. Making 6 figures. I am at my first choice of university. One of the best in the UK. Using an iPad and laptop instead of random sheets of paper now. Of course. Well. Thanks. Turns out not wasting effort for meaningless stuff helps with the meaningful stuff. Have a very well paid job in it. Own my own apartment and have an Italian sports car. I swear this question comes up every month. I mean, I used to throw things wherever in my locker. That ended when the main support for that mess collapsed. Searching Reddit in the middle of the night. I shoved all my papers in my backpack every school year I attended, and I am here to say, I came out just fine. The people in school pushing binders on you all are lying to you. It's all a waste of money. All funded by Big Binder. Binders are a lie. They won't help you stay organized later in life. Just started my 10th year of garbage disposal at a modest factory and wouldn't have it any other way. Yes. Messy punk here. Own a cinema. 3 houses and a messy crappy ute. Doing far better than most of my organized friends. I can say for sure that none of those papers mattered even a little. Got myself an iPad to take notes. Now my shiz at least doesn't look like it's been frantically jammed into my backpack. Very organized. I flipped completely around 19 or 20. Been a stickler for tidiness and organization since. Not freaking good. I am a teacher who tries to tell kids not to do what I did. LMAO. Scatterbrained professor. I am a software architect with AskReddit who shoves all his notes into random OneNote tabs. Software engineer. You should see my desktop. I am a nurse. With AskReddit. I try so hard to limit paper in my life. Everything that can be done electronically, I do it that way. At work there are office people who take care of many admin things for me, so that's nice. Still terrible at organization, but I get by with to-do list apps and reminder apps. Still in high school and very well mentally. Not caring about little things makes you happy. Not an answer to your question. But you just unlocked a core memory for me, man. I remember I used to do this back in grade school. And then I just totally forgot about it. I am so old. Kids didn't use backpacks in school. We just put papers in our textbooks. Folded or not. College was another matter entirely. Funny how that happens. Owning my own successful business. There is order to chaos and only those who do it understand the order. I was rejected from an investigation center I wanted to work with because my diploma from an international congress I participated was mostly destroying the bottom of my backpack. Millionaire. MBA healthcare management. BS in respiratory therapy. RRT. Driving for a shuttle service. Doing work for a digital design company. And working on a project with the African Union and the German government on skills development in Africa. I've got a GF. A decent enough place to live. A car. 2 cats and I don't worry about money too much. All my teachers who thought I would be a washout can suck a bag of DS. Depressed. Making north of 200k. Driving a Mercedes. Dating a software engineer where our combined income puts us in the top 1% and I am profoundly bored with my life. Maybe true happiness is found in organizing my grade school backpack. For the record, my work backpack is equally filled with crumpled papers. Some things never change. Own a company. I don't know what to tell you. I had a highly organized binder during my first year of high school. And then gave into complete chaos during the last 2 years. Now I am doing my master's degree. Changed the 3-ring binders to the binders that are in a filing cabinet design. It did wonders for me. Graduated college recently and only touched 3-ring binders to turn in projects specifically requesting 3-ring binders and avoided them for everything else. Sam. But prior to this I was still shoving papers into my bag well into my master's degree. At one of the best unis in the world. HS teacher. I love the disorganized ones. Bipolar. Still in school. Studying to be a teacher and doing shiz way different now. I have a JD and an MSW. I do research and tech development. I am still trucking through it. School's tough even though I don't need to be organized. In college. Somehow got into Princeton. I am still confused how that happened. Found out why school was not for me. Decided to show to people that the system was broken or at least obsolete. Now I am a commercial pilot. I was right. Vibing. Starting my doctoral program in May. Working for a hospital's transfer center. Transferring all types of patients. Maybe I have added like the top comment said. IDK, it's undiagnosed but it's working for me. Fastest MF in my department. Exactly where you'd expect. In my day there were no backpacks. I never took books home with me. I did all my homework in homeroom. Study hall. And in lunchroom. I never used scrap paper or took notes. No binders or folders for me. I kept loose leaf paper in top of my locker. I would take what I needed to do in school homework, then put the homework papers in the textbooks behind their front covers. My grades were all over the place from As to FS, and I never did anything I wasn't interested in. I still do it to this day. I just slam dunk them in and I don't care. I don't give a shiz if my coffee spilled onto it or if it's all crumpled up and ripped. I am absolutely fine. In college, I do take better care of my stuff now though. Though I only ever missed 1 or 2 HW assignments due to my bag being unorganized. As a kid whose family couldn't buy extra replacement folders, I am doing just fine now. Thanks. PS. I keep a ton of extra school supplies on hand for my kids. I own a technology company in Asia. I still shove papers in my backpack without any form of enclosure. They get crumpled. It's not like someone pays me for pretty pieces of paper with nice penmanship on it. Carefully arranging my illegible scribblings in binders would just be one more thing to stress about. If I still think it's important when I get home, I type it out, back it up, draw a big line through it, and shove it back in my bag to use the other side of the paper later. In your mother. I carried one folded up piece of paper and a pencil 9/10ths were doodled on. I was bored as hell in school. After school I toiled in minimum wage hell. Multiple jobs. During school age from 12 to 17 I held a job from half hour after school 400 p.m. until 11 p.m. at night and had to be on the bus stop by 5:45 am. I was exhausted and also worked on weekends against labor laws. I assumed that I was just going to put money away and run away. It turns out I never had enough to live on. I now live in UK. Married. With kids and help my husband run a side business. Get contacts. Arrange meetings. Meet with people. While he works full-time. Best decision I ever made. I make more money and work less than most of the people I know that did it. So pretty frickin' well. Gotta appreciate the little wins. We didn't have stuff in binders. We had exercise books to write in and wallet folders for loose leaf handouts. I have added. It wasn't just the lack of organizing binders. It was also not remembering which days I needed sports kit. And which days I needed a lab coat. It was turning up late. Getting lost in buildings I went to every day. Coming home covered in ink and smudges. Doing homework at the last minute because I forgot about it. On the other hand, I have a PhD. Have written 4 successful books. Have a responsible management level job in international development. Have traveled all over the world. Own 2 houses. Have a regular column in a national newspaper. And am more happily married. Adt is a massive pain. It makes everything in life more difficult. Simple everyday tasks for others seem insurmountable. Anything to do with forms. Cupboards. Passwords. Routines. Organization. Cleaning. Administration. Finance, time management. And planning. Is tricky for me. Some days it is impossible. Other days just very frustrating and slow. But doable in small chunks. With massive breaks for my brain to go off on its own tangents. However, Adt does not define me. Yes. It limits me. Yes. It's annoying. But mostly I've been able to get away with it. I've become very good at winging it. Very good at improvisation. Very good at flexibly and creatively responding to things. Still in school. Still shoving paper in my bag. Living in a mentally unstable world of emotion. So yeah, I am good. In law school, which actually made me become organized. In the bag looking like a piece of paper that has been buried underground for several years. Got diagnosed with ADHD halfway through my animation course. And now I am doing freelance. After vid. Everything is on my iPad. My school rarely uses paper. So I am doing pretty well. Stuff. Taking Vivance and going to uni. I saw a student hand in a scrunched up and soaked single sheet of paper. I was in the teacher's office at the time discussing my final project. And she was awestruck. Placed it on a table and tried to dry it with paper towels. I think she's still in school doing who knows what. My friend in year 7 also handed in what was supposed to be a typed assignment. Handwritten with pencil. On a scrunched up piece of paper. Torn in the corners. And incomplete. He just dropped out of university because of vid. Burnout. Mental health stuff. And poor time management skills. He's currently trying to be a musician like his father and moved to America with his GF. Boy howdy do I have a truck for you to see. College English teacher. Ha. Finished a PhD a couple of years ago and working full time doing research. I am still very disorganized with my files, but I do use folders now almost always when I have physical papers. Right here, chief. Rad. Diagnosed with ADHD about 12 years ago. Working as a control systems engineer, I have around 100 tabs open in Notepad whenever my desktop fills up with files to the point where my many screens are covered in icons. I simply move everything into a new folder called Stuff. It's currently 34 Stuff folders deep. My temp directory has far more non-temporary and important files than I care to admit. With ADHD. Bipolar, and I am a boilermaker. Making a decent amount of money. Married and 4 kids. I am a teacher. The move to putting everything on a computer was a game changer. I ended up getting an advanced degree at an Ivy League, so it all worked out. Currently an engineer with a scratchy work laptop from also shoving it in my backpack every end of the day. I do the same thing at 50 years old with work papers. But now it's a coach shoulder computer bag. Just bought my first house. Good paying stable job. Long time relationship and very happy with how things are going. Dropped out of school a few years ago due to failing out. Now I have my own small farm. Work part-time to help sustain it all. And I get to spend a lot of time with my family. I am doing alright, I would say. We are not doing good. I teach academic skills at university. And tell everyone to put their papers in a damn folder. Answering this stupid question. Programmer. No need for paper anything anymore because all my work is stored digitally. I am a responsible person with a respectable career. Nice car. Own a home. All my important documents are folded and wrinkled from being shoved in a bag or left on my passenger seat at some point in time. Shoving school papers in my backpack without a folder or binder in 8th grade. Now my Google Drive is full of untitled writings and I have to open each one to figure out what it is. I work front desk at a hotel in Hawaii. Pays alright. But I am able to survive in a really expensive city. I was rejected from an investigation center I wanted to work with because my diploma from an international congress I participated was mostly destroyed in the bottom of my backpack. Having to fill in and archive freaking paperwork every day. Also never predicted how much pain a company full of people who were never trained with SAP could cause. I run my own business. Ripping and tearing behind my backpack. Which is non-water assistant and contains my employment contract without any folder or binder. High school dropout. Recovering drug addict. Body all beat up from under the table manual labor. Basically disabled but with no medical record, so no benefits. No friends. No love in my life. No real future. Should have used a folder. I still regularly shove papers into my backpack with no folder or binder. I regret nothing. I am a teacher now. I am done learning. It consultant. Paper is for wiping up the spills when one of the soda cans on my desk gets knocked over. Teacher at an international kindergarten in Japan and still stuffing papers into my bag. I've got a PhD in theoretical linguistics and I drive a tractor for a living. Technical physics grad. Switched to a Surface tablet when I started my bachelor's degree. I study biology in uni. Second year as of now. Hotel manager for 20 years or so. And I own 2 businesses. Dropped out at 16. Frick school, went to the library 5x a week and read everything until I was 19, self-employed, supporting myself. My wife. 2 adorable kids. 2 annoying staffies. got a great deal on a large house in a neighborhood we love. 3 cars and my own gym again. Frick school. I am an insurance salesman. Law school. I am an artist. Me studio is nothing but papers without folders. In high school still doing the same. I shoved them all in a book cover if that counts. School is 100% not worth the effort they insist students give. Around year 9 I realized most of the schoolwork was busy work solely given to push your ability to develop understanding. Some kids need more. Some straight up can't. I had no issue understanding things. It was just the motivation to do so. No adult could give me a good reason to try at school. You have to do well at school so you can do well at university. Then you can get a good job, or I could get something entry level. Actually get paid to develop understanding. And avoid years of part-time busy work student debt. I did that. Originally I thought I'd work my way up the ladder. But after I got a couple of steps up I realized learning more at work sucks as much as it did in school. Even when paid. So, where am I now? I've got a mid-level job that pays enough for a simple comfy life. I do the necessary work well and the unnecessary busy work I shove into the digital equivalent of a book cover. Most of my exposure to the organized is it's a frantic necessity. Do y'all actually enjoy needing everything well sorted to be content? Surgeon. I am an engineer and I have so many fewer pieces of paper to keep track of. And once I am done with a piece, I just leave it on my desk so that I can write quick notes, like if someone calls and says I need to look into a particular batch number of product. I am a substitute teacher. Neuroscientist. Still doing the exact same thing. Reading reposts on Reddit apparently. Accountant by trade. And working on staying organized now that I've managed to achieve it. Working in it for a big firm. Started using folders at uni though. Medical school. An attorney. And boy oh boy, let me tell you. Shoving paper anywhere you please is not good for my career. Doing a PhD lol. College, but there's still time to fail. If you want more answers you can scroll through AskReddit's all-time popular posts to find this exact question being asked. About to finish med school, Mayo, still not totally organized but have worked on it quite a bit. On Reddit mostly. I am a lawyer. Now shoving them in my briefcase. In college and never use paper. Only use my computer. Enjoying Christmas break. Knowing I am gonna do it again when I get back to school. Nursing school. I am a teacher. At university studying physics I still don't use binders. Sorting through boxes of random saved stuff looking for my birth certificate. Again, frick's sake. What backpack? I just put the papers in my locker and left my backpack at home. Ditched papers and use my iPad for everything. Still doing the same thing but just in college. Tax attorney. Turns out it's much easier to stay organized when everything is digital. I didn't have a backpack. My parents couldn't afford one. Balls deep in Iraq as a network engineer. In college and still get a high grade in organization and neatness because I just aesthetically doodle my papers and my high school teachers liked it. Shipwright. My shop is chaos. Future music ed major. Trying to get an ADHD diagnosis. No paper needed. It. Job. 95k this year. Just left your house by the back door. Say hi to mom for me, will ya? Lawyer, prefer to just bring my laptop. Sitting at home getting paid too much money to do very little. Tech work is B. PhD program. Working on my organization. I am an electrician now. Working for a big electricity distributor in my city. Right now I am sitting on my shift. Waiting for the end of the year. Obviously. Caved and bought folders. Riddled with ADHD. Just graduated as an electrical power engineer. Not a single folder or binder was ever used. Shoving my work clothes into my locker. In college unorganized as frick. Graphic designer and business owner. Construction worker. Senior portfolio manager and investment advisor is what my business card says. Lost my backpack and used a grocery store plastic bag through high school. Of course, no folders or binders. And today doing a PhD in physics. About to join the Navy. Master of Science in Marine Biology. But yeah, I think it took a while longer just because of my lack of organization. Honest answer. Unemployed. Started 4 business that failed. Working the 5th failure now. I've been laid off from 2 jobs and quit 1. Currently in some small debt less than 10k. I never started a business in debt, so that helps. But yeah. I shouldn't have folded those papers looking back. Aced my way through college, was a very successful accounting data analyst for 15 years, gave it all up because the hours were hell and the pay not worth it. Now. I am a hypnoramatherapist and happily. Successfully. Working from home. I admit it. I still suck at paper management. Public service. Before. I worked in Japan. They treated their documents like a firstborn son and were horrified when I just trashed everything I deemed unnecessary. 62 and still shoving papers in bags. Life is good. I work at a bank as a banker. 40k a year. Chilling with my father and a beer. I now have a 3rd grader who does the exact same thing and it drives me bonkers. And a kindergartner who looks like he's going to be the same way. If she does put things in a folder, she just shoves them in without neatly putting them in the little pocket. She is a very good student. Super smart and advanced. But she just cannot take the extra 15 seconds to neatly put her stuff away. As frustrated as I get, I still totally understand because I know I was the exact same way. I got very meticulous about keeping my work in order in college. Especially since I was in a teacher training program and you really have to be organized and keep track of your stuff for that. Then in my work life, when I had an office job, I straightened up my desk every day and my drawers were pretty immaculate. I am now in a constant state of desperately trying to clean and organize my house. But my husband and kids are incredibly disorganized, so it feels like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. What backpack? Anyway. I live off music these days. Also the last 5 years. Shiz is dope. Still alive and working as a waitress. Doing a PhD. I stopped taking paper notes around my 2nd year of college. Computer all the way. I still suck as organizing stuff, but I don't deal with paper sheets missing, ripped apart and everything. In bed. Still shoveling papers in compact spaces though. Working as an engineer at a road company. In college. Depressed. Medical school and still doing it, lol. I was that kid who didn't give a shiz and had mediocre grades in the USA system. I was the C on average with sometimes surprise of B, but occasional D happened. Then in college I had 1 notebook for a whole year and mostly passed without caring for grades. As long as positive. My record is probably taking the same exam 45 times. Where am I now? Graduated years ago. Worked as engineer for 3-5 years more or less. But I learned coding as a hobby. Changed my occupation completely. Now making 3 times more after 3 years than what I made after 3-5 years as electrical engineer. I am good. I never cared for school. I just knew what I had to do to end up well. Teachers weren't really any authorities for me. They were people with higher education making shizty money on going through 1 or 2 same books every year. That wasn't nowhere near my goal in life. I considered them people who never knew what to do after graduation, so they stayed in school as teachers. And I had to make something of myself to prove to myself that I knew better and I was right. Pooping. Dropped out, lol. Lawyer with a PhD. Snorting fentanyl. I am still in middle school, so I can't say. Sitting at home waiting to go out to get lunch. Lost my car. Addicted to weed. Drink too much, smoke too much. Basically on the edge, ready to jump. High school teacher. A therapist who requires extra time to process through what's relevant and what's not in writing notes. I've got it down mostly. But the road hasn't been easy. Not getting my ass kicked for being a freaking nerd. Still in school. Lost 3 major papers and failed Preckle. Got 1 more semester to make it up so I can walk. I am a registered paramedic in the NHS. Still unorganized though. Doing a PhD in France. Yes, I am very proud of myself. You see, you thought I was a psychopath, but you were too close-minded to see my genius. When you thought I was stuffing my paper in my bag without any protection, I was actually fitting it between a textbook and a hardcover practical record book lab notebook, so I took my paper home without any wrinkles or creases. In mint condition. Doing very well with a messy desk. Working from home in Austin. Doing drugs and shiz. Work in a trad-a-funny park. My tools and parts are always organized. I am a teacher. I fold the papers out of the simulation. In grad school. Luckily there aren't as many school papers now. But they all get the same treatment. Stuff. On adult medications. Looking for my keys. I teach. Shoving papers into my laptop case with no folder or binder. But doing better than expected. Working for the government and leading a small team of social workers running a program I helped to develop. Paramedic firefighter. I both live in and thrive in chaos. Working my first year as a middle school English teacher. I teach kids aged 1417 and I still shove all of their tests and my own papers in my bag like the piece of shiz organizer I am. Practicing law. Full professor and chair of the visual arts department. Working for the state government. When Christmas time comes and ends, I shove all of the lights and ornaments in the same box with no organization other than that. I have a great family and love my job. Working a shiz job on New Year's Eve. Not good, man. Just fell into a river with my fusion reactor. Did for years. Finally got organized in grad school. All my notes are still organized by Clash. I've never really used them. But I expect my kids will think they're cool someday when they find them in the attic. I dropped out of school and got my JED, started driving trucks a few years later and now have more money than most of my high school counterparts. I've never done anything the right way. But I also have no debt and 6 figures saved away. Most people think the right way is being in MASH. I've debt your whole life. Either with credit, school, house debt, or all 3. We've been sold a lie. You don't need a car payment, and if you are willing to live small and save up, you can afford to buy a house outright. We live in a I want everything now society and we are willing to make ourselves lifelong debt slaves to get it. It's a terrible, stressful way to live and I don't want any part of it. On the couch. In bed. Diagnosed with ADD. Making sandwiches for a living. And learning to code. Running my own restaurant about 8 years now. I am the manager of a team of software developers in the aviation field. I have residency in 3 countries. I speak 3 languages. I run a small charity and my wife still won't let me put the groceries in the bag because I keep putting the soft stuff underneath the heavy stuff. Like and subscribe.